We like to think of ourselves as rational decision makers. We assume we weigh options carefully, compare costs and benefits, and then make the best choice. But the truth is, we don't. Our decisions are consistently influenced by hidden forces, emotions, biases, social pressures, and even how choices are presented. In his best-selling 2008 book, Predictably Irrational, The Hidden Forces That Shape Our Decisions, behavioral economist Dan Ariely reveals just how irrational human behavior is. But here's the twist. Our irrationality is not random. It's systematic and predictable. By understanding it, we can make better decisions and design smarter systems. Welcome to 10-Minute Books, the channel where we break down the world's most powerful books into practical lessons you can absorb in just 10 minutes. Today, we're exploring Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely, a fascinating journey into the hidden forces that guide our choices in money, work, love, and life. The core idea: systematic irrationality. Ariely's central message is that people don't make purely rational decisions. Instead, we're influenced by context, expectations, emotions, and unconscious biases. But because these influences are systematic, researchers can study them and predict when people will act irrationally. This means our irrationality is not chaos, it follows patterns. The power of relativity. One of Ariely's most famous examples is how we compare options. People don't evaluate things in absolute terms, they compare them to other choices. For instance, The Economist magazine once offered 3 subscription options: online, only for $59, print, only for $125, or both online and print for $125. Almost everyone chose the combined option because it seemed like a bargain compared to print only. But when the print-only option was removed, far fewer chose the combined subscription. The print-only option was a decoy. It nudged people toward the option the company wanted to sell. This shows how easily our sense of value is manipulated by comparisons. The cost of zero. Ariely explains how the concept of free distorts our choices. When something is free, we tend to overvalue it, even if the actual benefit is small. For example, if a Hershey's Kiss costs 1 cent and a Lindt truffle costs 15 cents, many choose the truffle. But if the Kiss is free and the truffle costs 14 cents, far more people choose the Kiss, even though the relative difference is the same. The magic of zero overwhelms rational calculation. The problem of self-control. We often know what's good for us, but fail to act on it because of short-term temptations. Ariely calls this the struggle between our hot emotional state and our cold rational state. For example, we plan to eat healthy, but when confronted with dessert, our hot state takes over. Experiments show people consistently underestimate how much their decisions will change when emotions run high. This explains procrastination, overeating, and overspending. Our irrationality is not just ignorance, it's a predictable weakness of willpower. The endowment effect. Ariely describes how ownership changes our perception of value. Once we own something, we value it more than others do. For example, in experiments with Duke University basketball tickets, students who won tickets in a lottery valued them at thousands of dollars, while those who wanted to buy them were only willing to pay a few hundred. Ownership inflates value irrationally. The influence of expectations. Our expectations shape how we experience reality. Ariely's beer experiment illustrates this. Students given beer with a few drops of balsamic vinegar often enjoyed it unless they were told about the vinegar beforehand. Then they hated it. Our minds don't just perceive reality, they construct it through expectations. social norms versus market norms. Ariely distinguishes between two worlds, social norms and market norms. Social norms involve generosity, relationships, and goodwill. Market norms involve money and transactions. Mixing the two can be disastrous. For example, if a friend helps you move, you thank them. But if you offer to pay them $20, the relationship shifts from social to market norms, and it feels insulting. Understanding these norms helps us avoid mistakes in work, relationships, and business. The problem of procrastination. Ariely shows how deadlines can nudge us toward better behavior. In one study, students allowed to set their own staggered deadlines performed better than those with no deadlines, but worse than those with strict, evenly spaced deadlines. We need external structures to counter our tendency to procrastinate. The influence of emotions. Ariely's research demonstrates how emotions change decision-making dramatically. For example, in experiments, participants made different choices about sex, risk, and morality when aroused compared to when calm. This highlights the importance of designing safeguards before emotions kick in, because once we're in a hot state, rationality disappears. The role of honesty. Ariely also studied cheating. He found most people cheat a little, but not enough to see themselves as dishonest. However, when given reminders of morality, like recalling the 10 Commandments, cheating dropped. This shows that honesty isn't just about incentives or punishment. It's about context and reminders of values. Practical lessons from Predictably Irrational. So what can we learn from all this? Be wary of free. Zero can distort judgment. Recognize the power of defaults and decoys in shaping choices. Understand that ownership inflates value. Ask, would I buy this again if I didn't own it? Use deadlines and commitments to fight procrastination. Plan ahead for emotional states that impair judgment. Separate social and market norms carefully. Design environments that remind you of your values. Case studies and stories. The book is packed with engaging experiments and stories. Students overvaluing basketball tickets they owned. Customers being manipulated by decoy pricing. People overeating free candy because free feels irresistible. Students performing better when given structured deadlines. Workers cheating less when reminded of morality before a task. These examples make Ariely's points vivid and memorable. Criticism and balance. Some critics argue that Ariely's experiments are simplified or don't always translate to complex real-world markets. Others point out that human irrationality can be context-dependent, but the strength of Predictably Irrational is its accessibility and storytelling. It makes behavioral economics engaging and shows how experiments reveal deep truths about human behavior. Modern relevance. In a world filled with marketing, social media, and endless choices, Ariely's lessons are more relevant than ever. Companies use our biases to influence spending. Governments use nudges to improve policies. And individuals can use these insights to make smarter choices. By recognizing how we're predictably irrational, we can resist manipulation, design better habits, and make wiser decisions. The big takeaway. Predictably Irrational teaches that human behavior is not purely rational, but systematically biased. By understanding these patterns, we can make better decisions, avoid traps, and create systems that support our long-term goals. The question is, are you letting hidden forces push you into irrational choices, or are you using these insights to outsmart your own biases? That was Predictably Irrational by Dan Ariely, broken down in under 20 minutes. Which idea resonates most with you, the power of free, the endowment effect, or the battle between planner and doer? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Thanks for watching, and remember, our irrationality isn't random, it's predictable. Learn the patterns, and you can master your decisions.